So the third green's the largest green on the golf course. It's about 10,000 square feet. And if you took an aerial view of it, it's kind of shaped almost like an L, like a capital L. And so the third hole was probably the biggest evolution on the golf course during construction. The old golf course had this pond that sat on high ground, and that's a real pet peeve for me. And so I wanted to do everything in my power to avoid that pond, but it was kind of at a pinch point in the routing. And so one day early on in construction, I found myself standing on that tee for about 2 hours. People would come by wondering what was going on. And eventually I figured out that if we shifted the green back towards the tee a little bit, that we could create a ridge line behind the green that mimicked the mountains or the foothills in the background of that hole. And we could set some bunkers into that. And so with that ridge line formed to kind of mimic the hillside in the background, this big kind of L-shaped green fit in there really nicely. And it makes it a very dynamic par 3. From the forward tees to a front right hole location, you'll have a wedge in your hand, but you need to be really precise to get the ball close. From a back tee to a back left hole location, it probably plays closer to 230, but it's open in front and the contours kind of funnel. And what's maybe most interesting about the hole is the front center hole location is probably the toughest. There's a little plateau there that would be tough to access. And the backside of that plateau actually is the contour that allows you to putt from the back left to the front right, or from the front right to the back left. So some pretty unique contours there. So that was a part of the property where we needed to actually cross a number of old holes, and there was a high green site that would lend itself to doing something creative. And last year I had the opportunity to travel to New Zealand, and I visited Waverley Golf Club, which was this amazing kind of country golf course on the North Island of New Zealand. Probably the most remarkable ground plane for golf I've ever seen in my life. And the 12th hole there, known as Tom Thumb, plays up and into this kind of little volcano green setting. And I was just blown away by that. And so as we started down the road of construction, that green site seemed like it could lend itself to something somewhat similar. So that was the kind of general inspiration. We didn't really copy it in any way, but that was kind of the guiding light. And so the 6th hole here at Poppy Ridge is a kind of a short to medium par 4. Plays as kind of a dogleg right to left, and the green sits as a punch bowl inside this volcano. It's a pretty neat little green setting. So the 14th hole is kind of our medium to long par 3, and it's really the connector hole that gets us from the north portion of the property to this little southeast section. And that southeast section is really dramatic land. So there's a deep valley, probably 60-foot tall ridge lines on both sides of that hole. So that frames the 15th hole. The 15th hole plays through that deep valley, and then the 16th hole plays along a high ridge line and probably is the highest spot on the property with panoramic views across the whole golf course and to all the hillsides in the distance. So the 14th hole really became the key to be able to access that southeast corner of the property. And so by creating a par 3 there, all we really needed to do was bench in a green site as opposed to building a 300 or 400 yard long hole. So there was a spot on this kind of severe hillside that we were able to rework, bench in a green site. And what's unique about the 14th hole is that it's kind of a long par 3 that you can see the green easily from the tee, What you can't see is that there's this big fairway to the left of the green that's kind of over a ridge. And so if you play your ball well left of the green, the contour will take it down and feed it on. The 16th hole, you're at the highest point of the property, you're on top of this ridge line, it can be pretty windy up there, drivable par 4, and really the hole is set up almost like a traditional cape hole, kind of moves from right to left, but instead of having water to the left, we actually have a fairway down there too. So the fairway on the right is elevated. If you play out to the fairway on the right, your approach shot plays to a peninsula green where there's trouble left, trouble long, and trouble right. If you play down to that lower fairway, again, you're still hitting to that peninsula green, but your trouble is short, left, and long. And you're about 15 feet below the putting surface, so you'll just see the top of the flag, that's it. Or you can try to go for the green. If we have our way, if it plays the way that we hope it does, we hope that's a hole where somebody will make a 2 and somebody will make a 6.